My question for today or pondering is on, I'm going to use the word play. It's not my favorite terminology
I'm already
necessarily.
feeling guilty.
Are you good? Okay. Because it's part of the point because and I'll just give you the premise. If I look at the bookshelf behind me and I think I'm up to like 167 influential authors, experts, speakers, leaders, influencers overall that have sat with, and most of them I have taken the time to find out their personal habits for success. And what I have found is the majority of them are pretty clear on and consistent with play, things that they do for pleasure. Though, as this morning when we were talking with the guys and I read the definition of play, it ultimately says we're talking about something that's not productive. Now, I don't want to, well, let's come back to that productive. But my muse though is, with those people, because I think the first thing that people go to goes, okay, those are successful people. They've had success now. They've written their books. They're on stage. They've got money. They can afford to play.
Right.
What I find though, historically, is they were always playing. They always made room for that. And it belies the question of, is one of the ingredients of their success the fact that they did take time to consistently have fun, enjoy life, inspire themselves, do something fun? Was that an ingredient? And I'm going to say, because a lot of these people I know, that I'm going to say, yes, it is. And I know that as I fell away with the roles and responsibilities of life, fell away from doing that, now that I have put it back, I think I get better work, more inspiration, less depression. There's my muse. What do you think? First thoughts?
Yeah. First thoughts. I don't know that I've ever read a journal article, medically speaking, on play. Certainly there's play therapy for little kids. And you think of the business of play for childhood development. And so that's how I think about it. And I would imagine that most adults in America think the same way. Yeah, play is for children, and that's good. But is it a part of becoming the opposite of depressed? So a happy, fulfilled, content person, to have a dedicated play schedule? It's not we don't do that.
Well, let's play with the word play.
Yeah.
Because the literal definition from Google, I don't know what it pulled up, Merriam-Webster or something like that, talks about it being non-productive. And I don't want to get caught up in that word of play necessarily, or fun, because a lot of people say my work is fun. Well,
Yeah.
it's awesome. That's awesome. If I had $10 billion in the bank, I would be doing the majority of the work that I am doing right now. That's what I choose to do. It's what I find fulfillment in. It's what I find purpose in. I think I'm called to do it. And there is fun in it. And yet I am also often eager to stop doing that and go do something that's just fun. So I want to separate this out as an activity and an exercise and an ingredient. And we can play with the productive aspect, because I am going to find play in going on a mountain bike ride. Now that fulfills exercise and health. And
it's practical.
It is, but I almost want to discount it there, because, okay, we're grown-ups, right? Our tastes have refined a little bit. I don't want to go play Legos. Now, gosh, who was it? I think it's John Acuff. So best-selling author, John Acuff. I just had him on a Ziglar show for his book, Soundtracks. He likes playing Legos. He's our age. He may be 50. And he literally, that's a treat for himself. He'll go buy some big expensive Lego set and do it himself.
Yeah.
I thought that is so cool. And I love that he loves it. Matter of fact, I was interviewing him and he says, yeah, look behind me. I've got on my shelf. He's got those there. Now, I didn't like doing that with my kids when back then,
when you had to.
Yeah, that's the last thing I'm going to do, but God love him for doing that.
Yeah.
And everybody loves the works that he's producing. And I'm trying to make a correlation, because I do feel like the more that I have these joys to look forward to, but I'm going to look at you. You've helped me with fiction.
Yeah.
So at night, we could make a case that it's productive, but I just got a new one. I got a new series that I may pass on to you. And I'm already looking forward to it tonight. It is play. I have no productive thought in mind other than, I want to hear what the character does.
All right. You get to participate.
I just can't not think that there is an intrinsic benefit in my head to my day because I'm looking forward to that and I'm going to engage in that. And how many things can we put in there? I know you do your devotions in the morning and there's productive in that. And I do too, but to some degree, I just love I've gotten to where I just love sitting down. I got my coffee.
Yeah.
And it's just fun.
Yeah, I would. And like we've said so many times before, I'm so grateful for my gratefulness that it is fun, that I do look forward to it. I would also say though, that it was not fun to get there.
And that's
right. Like that. And maybe that's where we have to back up and say, okay, in America, where fun and play now have become sort of this idea of complete licentiousness, like complete cut off from anything and everything and nobody telling me what to do. I can do anything I want, like almost sort of a Las Vegas, Disneyland. And I think maybe that's not play, or that's not healthy play. That if you look at childhood development as maybe another muse to say, the children are playing, but within playing, you play house and you're testing roles and they're practicing punishment to their dolls and reward to their dolls and teaching ABCs and all of those kinds of things, we could argue are practical as well. If you look at the animal kingdom and puppies and playing and all of that and learning how to hunt and whatever that, why, maybe it's the flip side around. Why don't we have more play within our practical work?
Yeah.
In fact, that was Kotler.
Okay.
That you interviewed as well.
Stephen Kotler, his book you just read was The Art of the Impossible.
Right.
Yeah.
To be creating the zone in the flow state, he said a sort of super boost is if your fun can overlap your work, like you just said.
Yeah.
And I get it. Like that's still going to be work. But he also said, yeah, but your work is going to be better if you can go surf.
Yes.
Go snowboard and play over there.
Like Guy Kawasaki. So he's leading Silicon Valley guru. And I've had him on 2 or 3 shows now. So he is a fun guy, period. And one of the things, I mean, he's like, it doesn't matter if you say, look, man, I got a $1 million business deal. All you got to do is an hour of work. He might be sitting there going, oh man, I hear you, but I just got a report and the surf's up. I'm going to go surf. I mean, he's so he loves it. He didn't start surfing until 50.
Wow.
Yeah. And now he lives on the California coast, man. And he just loves it. And it inspires his life. And it's part of who he is when he jumps up on stage and inspires everybody. And it was a quote that I am really regretful I can't come up with anymore. I hope that I'll find it, but it was somebody talking as if paraphrasing from God to a degree or God perspective of, you're seriously going to go through a day without doing something that just thrills you on this incredible planet with all the privileges that I've afforded you and the luxuries you have and the buffet that I've set out for you of life. And you're really not going to enjoy any of that. And I thought about it as a father. And do I want my kids today to just have some fun, or do I want them to know, get up early, do your chores, do some exercise, go to school, do your homework, go to sleep, and get up the next day and do your drudgery
and be happy with it.
Yeah. Even if they enjoy school, because I do struggle with that quote. Who was it that said it? The famous quote about find the work you love and find work that's played and you'll never work a day in your life. Something like that. I'm paraphrasing from some famous guy, Oliver Wendell Jones, something like that. And I look at that and I don't agree.
No, there's still going to be work.
I adore my work. And again, $1 billion in the bank, I will do it. I'm going to work on the book that I'm writing on. I'm going to do these podcasts and whatnot. And yet they are work. It takes to do good work. It takes brain effort to craft a good show, to think through these thoughts. It is very different.
You enjoy it.
Yeah.
But it's not play.
And it's not play. I get to exit my effort when I sit down with that fiction book.
Yeah. When
I get out on my bike, my birthday's coming up and I know where I'm going to go ride. And I'm going to have a day of, I know that word, lascivious, licentiousness.
Yeah,
and I'm thinking of like gluttony and
right. We think negative,
hedonism,
and guilty,
hedonism. That's it. And I'm thinking, man, on my day.
Okay. But I have to say,
what?
Do you remember John Piper's quote back 30 years ago now, that God is most glorified in us when we are most satisfied in him. So he said, he put the word Christian hedonism together, that we are built to enjoy God. We are right that so, and he's most glorified when we are super satisfied in what he has given us. You were mentioning the play of children, and really you're just going to do homework all day long. And I want you, but also you've seen your 4-year-old get enthralled with an ant pile or an anthill.
Uh-huh.
I haven't been enthralled with ants for a long, long time. And maybe that's part of the problem, is that we do have the ordinary around us. You and I have done a lot of work to be enthralled with the ordinary of coffee or the ordinary of Brussels sprouts, and
we did just sit down on the deck, and I had broccoli, cauliflower, and some trout. What you had? What?
I had
veggies
and rice and mahi mahi.
And we both sat down, took that first bite, went, oh, of course we hadn't eaten. You didn't eat all day, did you?
Mm-mm.
I hadn't eaten. So it was whatever time it was, 12:30 or no, I was later than that. It must've been 1. We hadn't eaten yet, which helps the gratitude. Okay.
It's very fulfilling.
So maybe like we talk about, our appetites elevate.
Yeah.
And we have more, I don't know, mature, evolved. I don't know that's any better.
Not better, but it's more expensive. It's more time consuming. Okay. Meaning if my play is going to be skiing, then, well, holy cow, that's scheduling and driving and purchasing. And
even there though. Okay. So here's the premise. Cause I posted this, I'm not going to go through. Yeah. For disclosure, I posted this question and it was literally for myself. So here, you haven't seen it. You don't do Facebook. Mm-hmm. So here I am. This is Rampart Range. I'm out there. I went on a mountain bike the other day and just took pictures of Pikes Peak from different views. And I'm out there and I'm out there for fun.
Yeah.
I literally made myself stop to take pictures and get out of my trying to get a new PR and killing myself and just enjoy that. I have the beauty. I was at a Rampart Range, which is closed for the season. So I have it to myself. It's like my own playground. I think this is awesome. So I ask people, what activity gives you joy, parentheses, and what often keeps you from doing it? So people put all kinds of stuff down, right? They put genealogy. She likes doing genealogy. And it made me think about you and your love for history, just for history's sake. So what are you gonna do with that, Randy? No, you just enjoy. I don't. I would never. I would rather do Legos. But you dig that. And, a lot of people hiking, running. We had, playing tennis, fly fishing was this guy, yoga, a lot of activities, basketball. Here's somebody that's just walking and seeing things, playing guitar, traveling. That's you.
Yeah.
That's play for you. And you do a decent amount of that. This guy said chopping firewood. That's awesome. It reminded me of a guy who I knew. He sold a bank in Tennessee, made like 34 million bucks. And he went and bought himself a riding lawnmower and started mowing his own yard instead of having it paid for to do. That's what he wanted to do. God love him. It's not me. Snowboarding, yada, yada, dancing. It goes on here, but then the reasons why you don't do it. And ultimately, when I dug in a little bit, it's generally guilt.
Right. To take the time to give myself to go do that.
And the money. Cause you just mentioned that. Okay. So then my premise was, and if I'm the employee, let's say you and I are investors, okay? Or employers, either way. And we got these people that we invested in for a business, or we've got, 50 employees over here. I should use John. So John is your employee. He's at the front desk of our office and he runs that. Do you think it is better for his productivity at work that he goes fishing, that he adores? Does it add or take away from his work?
Yeah.
Would he
clearly that would add?
Would he be better off to put in 60 hours straight, no fishing? And at the end of Friday, he's strung out. You're getting your I know, obviously.
I know he's going to go home. His family's frustrated with him. He's frustrated with himself. He's barely going to come back around by Sunday night. And here we go again.
You'd be better off on Thursday afternoon and say, dude, just take off early, go fish. He's going to come in Friday and he's going to be showing us pictures. Yeah. He's going to be excited. He's going to get on the phone, and that next prospect for your product is going to hear that. And that's what I'm getting to, of saying, man, if I am investing in Kevin, if somebody's investing in Kevin, you are better off to have me work an hour less and spend some money to help me afford a mountain bike and get me out on the trail. I will be a better producing employee for you, or business, owner, whatever. And that's what I'm seeing. I mean, just by evidence-based research.
Don't we see that in, the new $5 billion building that Apple built and Google and all of that they build these playgrounds in there and a jungle gym, and just you adults go and play, go roll on the ground.
And they'll do it because they're employees and they were given permission to, and it was provided for. But for the average person
to stop work, drive down to Trampoline World 40 minutes away and pay them $40 to bounce on there, which I'm going to do tomorrow, by the way.
Are you really? I would say that's a great one, because especially if we're talking to business owners who are parents. I mean, there's the end all of, you are not going to take time for yourself,
right?
Self-care, whatever. And all this sounds like, yeah, it's great for you guys. Go out there. And I would say, man, I have every reason to not do that with the size of my family, business pursuits and whatever, pressures and responsibilities. And yet I know that it's, well, for one thing, I'm afraid that I would wake up at some point and go, man, life's just not worth living. What's the point other than my responsibilities to my family? This sucks.
Yeah.
Which is, we know a lot of people there,
many people there,
a lot of aspiring, educated, well-meaning people. And they get up, and what is there to really look forward to?
We even talked about that this morning with our upper teenage boys in our own homes. Mm-hmm. If the construct of the home, to me, I feel like I'm pretty loose. Like you can have free time to do this and that and the other, but to them, they're feeling so constrained. I can't play. I don't know. That just hit me. And the word that, home stinks. Why would I want to be home? That's a bad feeling. But of course, you can't go, okay, yeah, we'll play all day long and video games all the time. And there is going to be that middle ground there. That's why we're talking about this. You and I have grown up as Gen Xers lacking play and probably suffering for it. And maybe Gen Z is on the pendulum swinging the other side, and there's too much free time, too much.
Okay, I'm going to pick on you. All right. What if we looked at your, and my gosh, you're an inspired, joyful guy already. But as we've been talking about you going skiing, if I was investing in True Life Medicine and I wanted the most out of you, I would be tempted to say, look, as part of your work, you do not work on Fridays anymore, or every other Friday, you do not work, and you do not go, we're paying the bill. You go ski by yourself. I'm tempted to do it because of the joy of you looking forward to it. It's not every day, but you know that every week or every other week, you're going to have that time. You're going to get in your car, you're going to go, you're going to eat what you want, you're going to get to ski, and you're going to come back. And we are doing it to get the most out of you.
Yeah.
It's hard to, how can you argue against that?
Yeah.
And yet it's so far from our paradigm.
Remember, I think we've also said this in the past, and I think it was Mother Teresa who.
Right. You did. Yeah. That's brilliant.
Works in a super difficult area, downtown Calcutta, right? The slums or whatever. And people around the world wouldn't go and work there and help. And she said, okay, you can come in, but every 6 days you have to leave. You have to get away from the slums and go and take a break. And then you do that for 3 weeks. And then every month you have to take a full 5 days and go away and come back. And you can do that for 11 months, but every year you have to take a whole month and go away. And there again, can you imagine if in your schedule, once a month was a 5-day hiatus, sabbatical? I mean, I feel like if I could endure almost anything to know that there's always a 5-day lump coming up where I could restore.
Well, I'm hearing two sides of that. One is that the thing to look forward to, know you're going to get a break. And the other is the forced taking a break in order to get the most out of yourself. Because it makes me think of some of the top marathoners, especially will, as I was involved with the elite runners, it's different than cycling. So I was a pro cyclist and we did a lot of events, but even back then, the top guys, which I was not, I was a mediocre pro, the top pros, the Tour de France riders, they're only going to do generally 1 to 2 grand tours. These 2 or 3 week tour of Spain, tour of France, tour of Italy, they're only going to do 1 to 2 a year because it's so taxing.
Yeah.
So for them to come and marathoners seem to be even more so there. A good marathoner, a top marathoner is only going to do a handful a year because they know that they can only get to their peak so often. It takes so much recovery time and so much prep to get there. And yet here we are, and we treat ourselves like minions.
Trying to be at peak
Mhm.
every day, which by definition just brings the peak down.
Yeah. We're all at back to your spectrum.
We're all at mediocre.
Yeah. We function every day at a solid 6. And if that's okay, but
Right. It gets the job done. But then we take a step back and we're like, but I don't get enthralled with anything anymore. And then at some point, and especially now, diseases of despair that we've talked about so much get more and more acute, more and more.
yeah.
And it feels super fake to say, well, let me go stare at an anthill. Well, let me go find, well, and that's the old midlife crisis, right? I'm going to go buy a $5,000 mountain bike and hopefully find my joy.
I've thought about that because we're at that age where it's, this is what's the point? Where's the joy?
Right.
And you go to the far end of the spectrum that you've been squelching and you go buy what's the consummate thing? You buy a red convertible, you change jobs, start a business and have an affair.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
try something new in all of these big major areas.
Yeah. Start smoking, drinking, I don't know what it is. And if that's the danger, and I'm also curious with the math, let's say that, because we made this up, let's say that we're going along at the solid 6 per day. We feel like we can't not. And yet I'm wondering if we did the math, somebody who's smarter in math, if you did this and said, no, if you would go along and, make room for
on 3 days a week, be an 8 out of 10. And on 2 days a week, go play. In the long run, your math is probably going to win out.
Yeah. And because at some point, I mean, like I'm writing a book right now. I want it to be a 10. And I'm struggling. So part of it, I'm struggling to take the time away, to have the recovery, to have the mental capacity, the rest to come in. And if it's going to be a good book, as good as I want it to be, I've got to have my mental capacities. And when I go down the rabbit hole, it's difficult. It's awesome, inspiring, but it's hard work.
Yeah.
And to get that out, and I'm languishing in my timeline. I'm way past my deadline on delivering to the, publisher and stuff for some of these very reasons, of taking the time out. Though I am playing, I am doing that pretty well, but that's again where I'm wanting to question the paradigm.
That paradigm of we believe that your play is not waste of time. You're not hiding, you're not running, it's not pathological play. It's like your dad, it's the investment of that 2.5% or whatever he says. But
that's what I think that as everybody's listening to this right now, as they're driving in their cars or working out or on a walk or at work or whatever, you hear that. And the anchor in your mind, I believe, it is a luxury.
Right. Yes.
You have to earn it.
I have to be able to afford to play.
Yeah. Like for you got to go home and go, okay, I just got $1 million contract. We don't have to worry about money, whatever. Can I go play?
Yeah.
And I'm over here as the investor going, no, dude, you have to play. If I'm going to invest in your business, in you and Randy, you have got to go ski, join a soccer league or an ultimate Frisbee league. I want you pursuing history. And here's some great fiction books that we think are along your line. I need you spending 30 minutes a day doing that. And you're like, seriously, you're going to pay me to play. And yet look at it again. If we're looking at everybody's watching what's going on right now, NFL, I guess, and soccer and stuff like that. I mean, they're doing that, dude. No, you get out of the training room. You're going to overtrain, go do some R&R.
Yeah.
We're paying you $10 million this year. Go do some R&R.
And the investors do that with the athletes. You mentioned the cyclists, and I would say the major league pitchers. Like they know how many pitches per week, and those guys are getting 10 million or whatever. And they'll say, all right, done. You're done. You only get 78 pitches in this game or whatever. Right. I don't follow that sport, but
but that's a great analogy, because if we did it to our lives, it's me saying, no, Kevin, I don't believe I'm best off being able to throw a 100-mile fastball. I can only do that so often, and I need to be 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. So I'm just going to settle in at 60-mile-an-hour pitches. That's what I'm going to do.
Right. For 8 hours a day. And that'll get you nowhere in the baseball world.
Right. And everybody's going to hit a home run on me, and I'm going to be run out of the game.
Yeah.
But that's how we live. And we think that, I can't afford the R&R. That's a luxury, not a necessity. And that's why I'm saying it does not line up when I look at the bookshelf of the people that we are all choosing to follow. I mean, you're listening to Peter Attia, and we,
and
check
I know
out,
he does this stuff.
yeah, they make this big focus. That's what occurred to me when I was meeting. Well, I'll say the name, Bob Bodine. He's the author of Two Chairs and the Power of Who, and he's in town. Now, where is he in town? Is he, staying at a cheap place? No, he's staying at the Garden of the Gods Resort. It's beautiful. He's so excited about the view, and he's so excited to talk about, he's going to be golfing or whatever. And that's what it just hit me. He's not sitting there trying to prove to me that he works like a dog. He's excited about going to play golf, and he'll do that, and he'll have a great idea, and he'll bring it to the next speaking engagement and be a thrilled Bob that everybody loves. And am I coming home today as a thrilled Kevin because I enjoyed my day, or am I coming through the door trying to muster up some emotional reserves for my family? And my kid goes, Daddy, we play on the trampoline with me or play a game with me? I'm going, oh my, for the love of God, can I just have some relief?
Right. Can you imagine if you came home all buoyed up, ready to play with your kids? Because right. I feel guilty if I take the time to go play whatever game with the kids. And I don't feel guilty of doing that. I feel more guilty that I'm not rested up of R&R enough to want to go do that.
That's what I say. You feel guilty for not having the capacity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because by the time I get there, I enjoy the trampoline and whatever else. It's just getting there. And again, that feels like I got to take time away from this practical something else over here.
Yeah.
So, right. And we're not investing in ourselves.
Uh-huh.
Like the muse is some company is going to invest in you and saying, we're going to pay for you to go and do this. But we are our own CEOs.
We wish somebody would do that.
Yeah.
We wish somebody would come in and require, just like what you said. It
takes the guilt away.
You got a job at Google headquarters or whatever, and they've got the foosball table and the racquetball courts and the whatever, and the bell goes off and says, okay, playtime, everybody. And you're like, awesome. It's the coolest place to work ever, which is why they do that. And yet if you're the business owner, you don't have, you can't afford that luxury
margin. Right.
Yeah. That's pampering yourself. And man, I remember that with my wife getting in this groove, and then finally realizing the joy that she had in going to get a pedicure or a manicure when, feeling, she felt guilty for the time, mainly felt guilty for the expense.
Yeah.
And yet I'm feeling like, oh my gosh, when you do that, you're so joyful. For the love of God, go get one every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we've got it backwards in our minds.
Right. Same with the massage, same with any of those pampering kind of things. Well, to push back on it a little bit, because we often pull up on the muse of how things have been for humans for so long. So go back 1,000 years, like we do with metabolism and things like that. What was play back then? Was it there?
I don't know. Don't go back that far. Because my first thought when you said that was probably my grandfather. So when he was born, this is pre-electricity in his house, at least. And they went out, worked the fields at night, come in, and you don't have electricity. You've got a candle. You're limited in what you can do. And back then they would read a book, read out loud. That was their play checkers or something like that. Later on, when they had electricity, I remember, the big thing was crowd around the radio and hear some news, or hear a story told, a Garrison Keillor type thing told on there, was their entertainment. But again, now we've got the ability, it's like that thing, all these luxuries we have. And what do? We stay tied to our computers and our phones, and we can be at work producing 24/7. Even if we are play, we're attached to, you're watching it. We don't let go culturally.
Right.
To do
it's
the play.
There.
What did they do? I don't know. Way back then it was play. I don't know. It seems like it's always been a part. There's been entertainment back when we go to the natives and they've got depictions of dancing and
games. But in my mind, it seems like those were festival days and maybe once every 3 months and seasons and harvests and things like that. And in my mind, you go back to grandpas and great grandpas and a whole lot of work and not a lot of play.
I don't know. I mean, you and I read in recent years, what was running? Born to Run, right?
Yeah.
And where he goes down to Mexico, but to the native lands, the Tarahumara.
Yeah. And they ran.
They ran and they played soccer, and play and run was part of their life and joy.
And his other book was The Island of Crete, and they
Right.
walked, right? After day, everybody walked. You pick your dandelions and you eat them for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And I would presume that they felt joy and play in that at some point. Is play something that's modern? Like, are we inventing a, is play? I would argue that play has or delight might be a better word. To take delight in something has always been a part of God's construct for our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And we're struggling with the right word, play and delight and enjoyment and look forward to, and all of that. That in our modern world, there's so much of it.
Okay. Well, I don't know if this is where you're going, because I wanted to ask about the relief renewal aspect.
Yeah.
So that was brought to our attention years ago. I heard it from John Eldridge, but I've heard it from other people as well, of differentiating the aspect of relief and renewal,
Restoration,
restoration, recuperation. Yeah.
Yeah.
So coming in today, so if you and I put in a long day and we come in this evening and it's, oh my gosh, kick the shoes off, sit down. I'm going to, exaggerate. You and I don't have lazy boys, I don't think, but the exaggerated, lay down in lazy boy, a bag of chips and a beer, put the game on, and been a long day at the factory. We sit down. That's relief, not dissing it. That may be all you are capable of. You don't have the capacity to play at that point. Even if you had the chance, you don't want to go skiing, even if it's joyful. You're just relief. That has a place. But I'm going to say it's different than, and that's what I got hurt. You don't ever get up from that and go, man, I feel awesome.
Right. I feel restored,
rejuvenated, renewed, whatever. In
fact, when you go to bed that night, your sleep is going to be unrejuvenated,
worse,
unrenewed, right.
As opposed to when as you're getting ready to do your ski weekend or days or whatever, and go by yourself, you're going to go out there and ski. You're going to be giddy about it. It's going to be awesome. You're going to do that. You're going to have probably
likely be empty all day, food wise, empty,
and then
have a great dinner.
You're going to be looking forward to. And if it's me, I'm going to be thinking during the day, what am I totally in the mood for?
Yeah.
What kind of wine with it, whatever. You're going to do that. And you're going to be ecstatic. You may be physically tired from skiing all day, but you're going to be renewed, rejuvenated, play. So what if it's not every day? What if it's a highlight every 2 weeks? And I'm grateful that I get to have that almost daily with running, riding, getting out in the woods. It is interesting that people, in the question I asked, I didn't tally it up. I would say 70-ish% of them cited outdoor activities, which is interesting when you come back to the question you just asked about in the past.
People were mostly outdoors
outside. So I just read the book that is escaping my mind at the moment about C.S. Lewis
and his wife becoming Mrs. Lewis.
Thank you. And I mean, they had horses, but this didn't dawn on me till later. They had horses, but for some reason, those dudes just walked. If they're going
cars,
did they back then? Okay.
50s.
Well, they walked. Yeah. Maybe that's part of it too. So is it play just to be able to be outside?
Did our great grands farm and with some enthrallment,
play and joy? Yeah.
Because the picture presented to me these days is, holy cow, what a hard life. Like, but did they love the land? Did they?
I don't know. Cause I mean, when I do my woodwork and I go out, we just took down dead trees, and the good logs I put by my mill, and I'm going to mill those. And then, if I build something, I mean, just the joy of being outside, that part is play. Even if there's the effort of a productive thing of we're building X, Y, Z. I've never built a necessity. It's always something, fun, extraneous, and being outside in and of itself is such a gift.
I think that where we're landing on is going to be an area that we've talked a lot about, and it's the mindset that you're approaching all of this. That I have never been skiing by myself. It's a completely different mindset, that I'm not going to feel guilty. I'm not going to feel like I'm leaving my family in the lurch. I'm going to do the work to help my wife do that on her own as well. And it'll be a new experience, and I'm going to approach it with a different mindset. And like we talked about this morning, I'm approaching the morning time with an evolution of a mindset to say, hey, I'm choosing to look forward to these certain things. And can that be becoming play? Can all humans say, gosh, can I be becoming the guy who likes Brussels sprouts or pull-ups or burpees or what? And I think everybody's going to have it's the infinite variety of the human condition that's going to experience it differently. And you've got your surfers and your bikers and your skiers, which makes life interesting. And that at the end of the day, it's what do you choose to perceive as play?
Okay. I was just thinking along those lines, because if we look at play and we're trying to define what that is, but if we looked at the chemical things and just hooked up electrodes to a little kid's brain when he's doing Legos or jumping on trampoline, or she's playing with, dolls or something like that, and we did that and then put it on our brains, I wonder if it would be interesting to see what triggers those thoughts. Because one thought is, so I generally come in here, I'm doing my morning time more and more here in the office, because I got one kid that goes to school so early. So I'll come in here and I am feeling playful. I mean, getting my coffee. I have my coffee routine. I put it there. And then it's just a moment of just for me. Do I want to dig into the Bible? Do I want a devotion? Do I just want to sit and journal? Do I want to just meditate, kind of look out the window? It's my time. And then I'm looking forward to, I'm going to go ride or run, and I'm going to go hard if I feel like it, or if today I'm just going to stop and walk some, and that's play. And then I'm thinking about food. You and I sat on the deck, and I think that's an aspect of play. It's like our buddy Todd this morning, he said play for him is this weekly meeting. I think he's more on the social side than us. He probably has more joy out of it even than us. We probably look at it more productively. Then I'm going to work. This is fun. This is is an aspect, getting to have a conversation and ponder. This is play. This is some play for me. Tonight, it's Christmas time. We watched The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. And so yesterday my wife said, okay, today we'll do this and this. And can we try to get through the next CD, or we got all the extended versions, whatever. And so my whole family's looking forward to that play. We're
doing that tonight too.
Yeah. My son and I got an oldest son in town, Caleb, who probably will listen to this, and we're playing Scrabble. And now we get to get off the electronic Scrabble and play the real board. Yeah. And then we'll probably do that tonight while we're watching the thing. That's play. So those are little deposits that add up to probably less time than the average person spends scrolling social media and wasting time. To put it in an aspect of time, and can we afford it? And none of those things cost money. Well, we bought our coffee. I guess I wouldn't have had to, but I'm going to.
And you just dropped sort of the bomb of social media, which I wonder how many people out there would call that their play. I mean, we're so jaded against it that because I have tried to approach it and say, okay, I have 30 minutes here. I'm just going to kill some time. I'm going to scroll through something or other. To me, that feels like the opposite of even relief. I don't get done with 30 minutes of scrolling and say, okay, well,
I guess it's a brain break though from work. It's not a productive thing. So maybe they're a brain break. I just posted to my family. I should show it to you so you can show it to your family. And it was this little meme, and it showed somebody reading a book. It was a pro book. I follow some stuff that's pro reading, and it was somebody has a book open and they're reading it, and it showed like a brain cloud, totally full of ideas and images and imagination and whatever. And then it showed the same person looking at a screen, like scrolling their social media or whatever like that. And the cloud was blank. There's some debate. But if you look at if you're spectating input, you are just watching the input. When you are passive. When you're reading, you are making up imagery in your mind. Yeah.
And I think we know that. There's going to be the debate about, the Gen Z and how their brains develop. And we know that, okay, Gen Zs are becoming, 25 years old now, and they're really good collaborators. They're really good colleagues. They're really good, sensitive people and aware of your feelings and things like that. So there's a pro side to that. And maybe we find out that all of this trolling on social, whatever, does have a benefit. But we also see that biochemically in your brain, it's stunting some other areas.
That's what I think of. Go to skiing. And we
Yeah.
know that there are current debates about virtual reality and the concept that instead of you spending the time, the money, the
Yeah.
effort, the whatever, you just sit down in a chair, we'll put stuff
Put the
on your
Oculus
head,
on my head, and make me feel like I'm doing
yeah,
it.
we'll throw snow on you in the room so you feel that whatever. And can you emulate the same brain chemicals from that specific experience? And so let's say that you could, from that, drop down a double diamond or something like that. But what that misses out on is right now, you've been talking about this. What's
Yeah.
the chemicals of
The
the
anticipation,
questions, the
Yeah.
anticipation, the looking forward to, and even the stress of it, of then the day comes, loading your gear, driving there, stopping or taking your cup of coffee and having that, dealing, getting there, parking, looking up at it, the sounds, the sights. I mean, that's not part of this.
Yeah.
They're just going to strap you in and boom, you're going down off the chair, off the lift, and you're plummeting down, and you miss
You miss a part of it.
maybe the most of it. I mean, there's the stats on that.
On anticipation.
Do you get the most benefit out
Mhm.
of the event or out of the anticipation?
Yeah.
That one
Yeah.
burdens me, actually, because sometimes I look at that and go, man, I think this big, huge thing that we did, the anticipation, we got more joy out of that than the actual
thing.
Yeah.
Remember, that was mine for where our family took the trip to Hawaii a few years ago. And I'm like, we looked forward to it so hard. And then the thing was just kind of wasn't a letdown per se, but it wasn't as big as we'd hoped. And maybe the anticipation of it was even more. Looking back on it has been fun.
How did that inspire your life leading up to it? So now if we come back to, if you were doing your solo ski day
Yeah.
every other week, and you always had that to look forward to, how much more inspired are you today going through the drudgery of the responsibilities where there is no break?
Is my daily 6 out of 10 now 7 out of 10 because I'm looking forward to it?
Yeah.
I'm going to bet yes.
We're back to brain games. Is it all in your head?
To a degree, yes.
To a degree, yes, based on temporal, tangible things. But yeah, it
Which
is
where we happen to live.
Yeah.
In temporal, tangible things that matter. It really matters.
Yeah. So if we look at that and look at the chemicals and say, look, this is we're just playing with Randy's biochemistry, trying to get the best doctoring out of him, trying to help him figure out.
And fathering and husbanding.
Exactly. And to do that, we realize, dealing with the chemicals, we're best off to have him go ski, because I don't know why, man, I hate skiing, but Randy sure seems to like it. And so he gets so excited.
Right.
And
so if I was in the Matrix, that's what they would plug me into.
Perfect. Yeah, seriously. And me, they wouldn't. I don't get that much. I mean, might be mountain biking.
Mm-hmm.
And this person over here, like online, is genealogy. Seriously.
Right.
Whatever, man, plug it in. It does it for her. We're just trying to emulate the chemical responses so that we can get performance out. I mean, now we're back to the pro athlete, the thoroughbred horse. And if we want the best performance, and why do we come over here and go, nah, I'll just be a mule. Put my days in, eke out what I can.
Be 6 out of 10.
There's nobody listening that wants that, but I'm afraid that we have
settled,
agreed with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what is then the power? And there was a lady online, and I don't know where it is, because I did this in a couple different spots. It might've been in my new community. And she said, I love how the perspective that you said it. Oh no, I didn't even say this. I asked on that thread, I said, if a doctor ordered you, if a doctor said, it'd be great for
orders. Yep.
Which you've done.
Prescribed play.
Mm-hmm. And you've done that in other aspects of saying, the best thing you most need now. I remember the one lady is get your adult kid out of the house. You need to stop eating gluten so much that I'd rather you kept smoking in the meantime, if that'll help you stay off the gluten. And you over here need to go and do your cross-state motorcycle ride. Yeah. With your wife or by yourself or with your buddies or, whatever it is that you need to do why are we not prescribing play, for lack of better words?
So let's do that. So I've got my ski trip kind of planned out. You've got your birthday trip planned out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to approach it through a new mindset of guilt-free medicinal play.